And no joke, there was dead chickens everywhere. Like, she had killed them all.
And there was a really weird vibe in the air. And I'm not just saying that because I know what happened next, but there was a very somber... It was very still, and there was just a weird vibe.
Something clicks, and then you have a good experience, and then your mindset changes, and then you go on a different path.
No, there you go.
Hello. Welcome to No One's Looking, the podcast where you can say whatever the fuck you want. I'm your host, Melanie.
And I'm your host, Maggie.
And today we have Ross on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stoked to be here.
Yeah. Thanks. We're just gonna have a nice wee chat. Chat about loads of stuff. You're I don't know if that's the proper way. In my head, you're a serial entrepreneur. Serial killer. You're a serial entrepreneur.
No, entrepreneur. No one knows about the killing. Nobody.
Oh God, sorry.
That was meant to be private.
Edit that out right now.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was a secret. So the theme of the podcast at the moment is working through like childhood, talking about that. So we'll go through that, and then we'll just see where it takes us.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I'm excited to hear your story.
Yeah, me too.
I'm excited to figure out my story.
Yeah, this is like a therapy session, so be prepared on my list of questions. What was your relationship like with your parents?
That's not the first question.
No, it's not.
I'm not answering that.
Where are you from? Where were you born?
I am from Perthshire.
Nice.
But I was born in the Middle East.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa, that's cool.
Holiday baby.
Really?
Ruined the holiday. No, my parents worked out there. When they graduated from PE college, there was not many jobs in Scotland, so they saw an advert in literally a newspaper. That's how old school they are now.
Yeah.
And it was like fly to the Middle East and become a teacher and earn tax-free money. So they jumped in a plane and went.
Where about in the Middle East?
Al-Ain near Abu Dhabi.
Oh,
so
that's
they
cool.
so they worked for like they actually ended up teaching like super rich sheikhs' kids. So they saw a different side of the Middle East, and it was before it was as it is now, like the kind of circus it is of my dad calls it the circus in the desert now because it's totally changed.
Yeah.
But they went over there just to have a good time, and they met loads of like-minded people, had to earn tax-free money, and I came along like when they were both 21. So they were young parents.
Wow.
That's me. I mean,
so they would have had to learn quick, and then they came home to kind of just have the support of the families when I was like I think 2 years old.
That's so cool.
Wow.
You probably won't remember, but do you remember anything?
Not really. Certain photos might spark like memories of that place.
Yeah.
But the photos are hilarious. Like me just running butt naked with a tennis racket in my hand.
That's so fun. Yeah, that's so fun. So then you moved over here.
Live with my grandparents in Edinburgh for a year, I think, and then moved up to Perthshire where I'm from as a kid. Yeah. And that place is just like a playground for children. And it's funny because you live there and that's just where you live when you're a kid. But now I look back on it, I'm like, the richness of our childhood was so good. Access to countryside, like going swimming in our spare time in rivers that were super clean. So we had a really cool childhood.
No, that's like because Brody, my partner, is from there, and and he like the stories. I'm like, wow, you grew up so nice. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we swam in creeks, but creeks are dirty as hell. Like they're so dirty, but we still swam in them. Whereas like he's like, yeah, this is the waterfall we used to swim at, and I'm just like, okay, it's so
clear
cool.
Waters.
The clear waters, you can drink from it. Like whereas like in Edinburgh, you don't swim in the water.
We played in puddles in Bulgaria.
It can be insular, like. It can be insular living in the country and everyone knows everyone, but the cool people find each other. So like the skate park, when the skate park in Perth was developed in like 2000, I think 4 or 5, we just congregated there and made some really good friends who are still our friends, a lot of them. and a lot of creative, like-minded people were there just kind of
That's so nice.
beating themselves up every day in the skate park.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a magic place to grow up, Perth.
So what was your first kind of like, because I know you're quite sporty. I would class you as sporty. What was your first like sport or activity that you kind of got into?
Oh, it's hard. Like the usual ones, football and stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, my dad is a random segue, but my dad was a professional footballer before he moved to the Middle East.
Really?
And he got signed to Rangers when he was like 17.
Yeah.
He didn't get paid much in those days, but he did his knee in, and that was the reason, the catalyst for them going. So I think he wanted to like let me try football and see, but he's always been really open to whatever you want to try. Like, just go for it. So he tells a story of me playing football when I was a kid, and like I was just, my mind would wander super hard. So I was like playing in a position on the pitch, and apparently I was sitting cross-legged in defence, picking daisies and offering them to the opposition team, and there was like all these nerdy dads like, go son, like score a goal. My dad was just like, this is not for him. Like,
no.
He does not have the mental capacity to like follow the ball.
Yeah, because football for me, it's a lot of running.
How embarrassing for like a footballer.
That's not
their son.
Oh right, I
but
guess.
like in that moment, you'd be like,
oh
that's
shit,
my son. Like,
we need to take him out
he's
now.
troubled.
Okay. He's picking flowers. Honestly, that's Atticus, like my wee boy. Like he's like when we play football, Aldous is like super focused and like super competitive. Where Atticus will be like playing, running, being haha, and then he'll purposely make himself fall over and then just be like a bee, and then start. He loves picking flowers, like yeah. But that's funny. Professional football.
It's hard when you're young though, because like the way I believe like academia and schools were taught when I was a kid was like, you're kind of pushed to the side if you're not that.
Yeah.
If you don't do regurgitative learning.
Yeah.
So like you look at the book and then you put it in your mind and then you spew it back out in an exam, and like that didn't sit well with me, and I couldn't concentrate, and it was the same report card every year. Like, he cannot focus. Yeah. He's not cognitively like into this. And I just was like, I'm dumb. Like for years. Not in like a sad way. I was just like, I'm not that smart. It's not for me. And it wasn't until like I got into like doing my own businesses, I was like, actually, that's unnecessary. Yeah. I can think about this differently. So when I was young, I think I was quite I wasn't that stoked about stuff like that. So getting dopamine into my mind via sports was the thing. So like it started with skateboarding and then snowboarding, skiing. Skiing was like a big part of my younger years. Yeah, majorly into it, because our school did a weekly. The lucky thing about our school was it was in the middle of nowhere, and the access to sports was crazy. So we'd have activities every Friday. One of those activities was going skiing in a minibus. Cool. We could go kayaking. Like, it was an Arafelde, so there was mountain biking. All these things that you would never get in a inner city school were at our fingertips. That's so that cool. Left side of or right side of the brain, whatever the one was creative, was like inspired every week. That was good. That's really cool. When did you first start like surfing? Late. So probably 18 and a half. Went to a party up on the East Coast with some of my friends, and the boys were like, let's go surfing before we go to the party. And I was like, yeah, sounds good. It's like Point Break. I'd seen it and wanted to try it, but I had no access. I had no friends that did it, or like, not easy access to the waves. We lived inland. And I remember going out in exactly the same as what you described, with too big surf for my own ability. Went out on a board that wasn't right, got out the back somehow, and was so scared to go on waves. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. And eventually turned and went on one and just bodyboarded it. Yeah. And I felt like I'd never gone that fast before. It was like, whoa. Yeah. And didn't even stand up, was just like content with his bodyboard like 3 waves. And I was like, this is amazing.
That sounds like so much fun. I would do that. That sounds like fun.
And it's the hardest sport I've ever done by such a country mile, because the ability to surf, okay, so when you're standing up, people can surf, like that's the thing, but getting to that point is the really hard part. So like it takes you maybe 10-15 years even to start reading waves properly. Yeah. So like seeing what a wave's gonna do depending on what's below the surface. If you know that information, it can bend in certain ways, or it can come straight at you. And knowing if it's like this shape, you know you need to be there, and how do you get there? if the wave's moving. So
it's a science.
It's a weird, it's an ever-changing science. So like you could snowboard like a powder line and go back up, and you might not ride the exact same line, but it's all physically still going to be there. It might have melted a little bit or changed, something's changed, but it's untangible surfing. It's a piece of liquid that's moving. So like that sounds so ridiculously hippie, but like it is. And then when you stand up in a wave and surf it, then there's so little traction. If the conditions are good and it's like clean waves, there's so little resistance on the wave. It's almost like riding powder, but it's even more grippy than that.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing.
That sounds weird.
So your fins are the bits that give you the grip, and the board is the thing that like, it's called planing. It slides down the wave. But the fins, if you stand in the board in the right place, the fins give you loads of grip. So it's like, I don't know. It's like you're riding something that's Teflon down something. There's very little resistance, but all at the same time you've got loads of grip and you can change direction.
Yeah, that's
it's a
cool.
magic thing.
That
when
sounds like
it
magic.
starts to click.
Yeah.
And then you
That's
get this
cool.
feeling if you get a good wave, so you can surf for like 2 hours and the conditions are not good, or you're not good, or you're not having a good time. And then you get one wave and it just changes your mindset like that. And you're like, oh my God, I need
That
another
sounds
one
like
of those.
life.
Yeah.
That literally sounds exactly
So
like
profound.
you know, like you get like you get shot down. You know,
Yeah,
you
it's true.
try all these different experiences and things could be shit, and then all of a sudden something clicks, and then you have a good experience, and then your mindset changes, and then you go on a different path.
No, there you go.
Yeah,
That's cool.
reminded me.
That's mega insightful. That's good.
You said it.
Yeah, but
I just recognised
you
it.
put the pieces of the puzzle together. But then that's when surfing becomes like a drug.
Yeah.
So like people do all the stuff in their 20s, that you go out party and you do things and you have fun and
you
it's
chase
a great
that
it's a great
adrenaline.
part. Yeah, dopamine, I guess. From someone that has ADHD, like I didn't really realize how much of a dopamine junkie you become, because you're striving for this amazing feeling the whole time, and it can get wearing. But with surfing, it's filling up that happiness pot like so full.
That's
and
cool.
you can be a bit selfish. Like I've probably lost girlfriends and relationships over it in the past, where I've been like, I'm going surfing because I need it to make me happy.
Yeah, but like
that's a level of understanding for your partner, because if you have ADHD and that's how you manage it, then your partner should understand that.
because if you don't, which I found with myself when I wasn't like directing my impulsivity or some whatever, my impulsive nature in the right departments, then I would start becoming impulsive in the wrong ways. Like, you know, that would like hurt people, or like me, I'm like thinking, why the fuck did I do that? But it's because you chase that like feeling, like, you know, that kind of like high from like the like, oh, like I don't know how to describe it, but it's like chasing that. And I've only just started to realize that I had this this impulsive nature that I really needed to become aware of, so that I'm in it, I'm putting it in the right places. Like, yeah, basically.
But the understanding of these things has changed as well. So like when people used to joke about me being really hyperactive and like being full of energy and bouncing around, like ADHD wasn't a thing, or it might have been a terminology that wasn't understood. But now there's like so much positive information on it where I can be like, holy shit, that's why I feel that way. Like that's wild how that's changed. And like, so if my kids had it, then I would know exactly the tick boxes or the knowledge to help them out. But for my mum and dad, they would be like, nah, he's just hyper and he doesn't have concentration.
Yeah, that's just how he is. Yeah.
He's a free range kid and needs to be outside.
That's like Atticus is a lot more like hyperactive in comparison to Aldous. Like, I'm not comparing them, but I'm just saying that he can't sit still. Like he'll be at the table. Like he switches like positions like 15 times. But I did like a lot of reading up on it, because my brother has ADHD, and it was a big thing growing up. My mom like really like dug into him for it, like, you know, in a bad way. So I didn't want to like be like sit still and shit like that, like force him to go against his nature. And I just Googled like literally vitamins and minerals are more important to people who have ADHD. Like a lot of time you can have like a mineral deficiency. So having stuff like zinc, magnesium, all these different minerals, like iron, so you'll have like a low amount of like these. And I notice a huge difference when I've put Atticus on vitamins and minerals. and his behavior, like huge difference. Like we got a phone call from the school just basically like Atticus just like causing a ruckus and stuff like that. And then I immediately went down like a rabbit hole of like looking up stuff like natural remedies and all these different factors. And when he doesn't have his vitamins for like a week or we forget or something, I'll notice he'll start being like told off more or something. And I'm like, no, we need to get back on your vitamins kind of thing. But just like meditation, like I've started like meditating with them in the mornings, sometimes before school, sometimes after. I just like give them like headphones and then I'm just like, go in the living room by yourself and like listen to this like guided meditation. And they love it. Like, yeah.
They do love it. They talk about it all the time. And like whenever I looked after them, they were like, oh, can we have our vitamins? Do you know what I mean? So
they love it.
It's not even like a chore. It's something they enjoy.
Yeah.
I think I'm not a parent, but when I do have kids, I'm going to be using your practices because I feel like I've learned a lot and I can see the positive effects that your children are having from everything that you do. So
yeah, the boys are
It's
cool.
crazy, like when you said when I have kids and the health side of that. The food that we give our kids is hilarious. It's all organic. You spend so much money, and I'm like, no, I'll eat that packet sandwich. That's fine. I'm just like, you're so busy, you know, like what you tell yourself. Like it's mental how much you look after your children and how you just want to put good stuff in them.
Yeah, that's so true.
And also
at the detriment of yourself, you're like, nah, I'll just eat like this microwave meal.
Yeah, that's so true.
Oh, I had such a bad experience with a microwave meal and I'm never doing it again. I had like a really bad allergic reaction right before work. So I got to work and I started swelling up and nobody around me knew what to do. And I was I had to go to the hospital immediately. And I was
seeing
like,
Willy Wonka, do you know, when like
literally I started flying away and they were like,
they
were like, can't get a rope, she's flying away.
That's so funny.
No, literally I was not good. I had like a rash all over me. I was like swollen as fuck. And then I got to the hospital and they were like, did you take any antihistamines? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, cool, bye.
Bye. See you later. Yeah, they can't really do anything. Yeah.
Ready meals
There was nothing they could do to help me. It was because it had preservatives in it. And I was like, never am I ever going to eat a ready meal again.
That's good. It means you're clean normally. Like you got a clean diet.
True
and
that.
then something you ate was sketchy and then it just freaked your body out straight away.
Yeah.
But yeah, and my mum always fed me soup and she always made salads with every single meal. So now that's instilled in me and I realised that if you do teach your children from a young age to eat healthy, they will crave it and then you can actually teach them intuitive eating because their bodies know like all the nutrients that they need and things like that. And then your body starts to tell you when you're deficient in something, so you'll start having like craving fish and that means you might need more omega-3 and stuff. So yeah, I just thought that
but
was
it even
really
goes
cool.
one step back from that to where the food comes from. Hence the reason that we're as a family going to move. Like they need to understand the process of like they tell that story in schools of like a kid goes to is asked the question where milk comes from and they say the supermarket. Like that is like a learned behaviour now in children that they think that food comes from a packet. And they don't know the whole journey. So I think that letting them, we have a little veg patch at home, it's tiny, but they grow their own, well my son grows his own vegetables in it and he's like super proud. And that's a way of introducing him to foods he wouldn't normally eat, like spinach and stuff. They'd be like, oh, spinach is disgusting, but if he's grown it, he's like, I'm eating
I
that.
want it and it tastes better.
It does.
My
It's
God.
fresh.
Literally,
it's not like wilting in a bag. Like
do you grow
mushing.
tomatoes?
We do.
How good the tomatoes taste fresh.
They're
fresh.
you can taste the hours that went into them. The sunlight of the Scottish
That's
sunlight.
cute.
Yeah, like so
hours.
sweet and like it just has this like really nice aftertaste.
Even if
of
it's not
tomato.
the perfect tomato,
Like-
if it's not quite ripe, it doesn't matter because there's so much that's complex.
Yeah. I agree. I want to, like, we're trying to grow our own stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we grow our own lettuce and stuff. And have
It
salads.
makes you proud. It's
It
awesome.
does.
It's a good thing to do.
That's cool.
We all need to do it more. But like, if you look at like the macro problems we're facing in the world, like, genuinely people need to be growing their own food. It's not
No,
some
that's
sort of
true.
like, you look at COP6 and you're like, COP6, COP26.
Yeah.
Yeah. 26, yeah.
26. You look at that and you're like, I have no faith in these people.
Yeah.
Like, these people, some of them are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Some.
Like, some of them are very intelligent people, but I don't think they have the
But none of
environment's
them are
best
doing
interests
it.
at heart. They're not there.
Yeah.
They're to show face, a lot of them. And I don't know the semantics of it enough to like actually call them out fully because I'm not that read in it. But I know that as individuals, I used to think that, oh shit, like, it's companies and corporations and governance that needs to make the changes because they're so much bigger than us. However, it's a multi-layered approach. Like, the individual, it starts with individual, it starts with pressure, telling your kids that this planet is a finite resource and we're kind of fucking it, and also creating your own food. Like, we all need to be sustainable. And sustainable is a word that's thrown around, but like, we genuinely need to be producing our own food.
Yeah.
And us as a family moving to having a piece of ground, which not everyone has the luxury of having. That's a privileged position to be in. Like, we're eventually going to shoot our own deer, and something I do at the moment, but on our own ground. Like, and my son will have to make a decision. Like, he loves deer. He loves like a fictional character that we made up called Pop Pop.
Oh.
And him seeing a deer getting shot would fucking destroy his world right now.
Yeah.
However, at some point he's going to need to decide that, does he want to eat meat? And this is actually the barbaric thing that you have to do to get the meat.
Yeah.
That's
See,
so
like,
true.
I grew up, well, half my life was like out in the country, and we had like a hog just like appear on the land, and everybody was like, "Get your guns!" And we had breakfast sausages for months. It was the best sausage I've ever had in my life.
The Cletus is like, "Get your guns!"
Yeah, like where I'm from, like, you hit a deer with your car, the whole family celebrates.
Nice.
You put that fucking deer in the back, you go to the butcher's, that's deer for everyone, like for months. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I can imagine my
You
mum
got
grew up
Bill
like
Bars
that.
hitting deer intentionally.
yeah,
Get
like
your gun!
I never shot anything. I've only had to kill one animal in my whole life, and it
What
was
was
really okay. I'll tell you the story. So I got a dog. I got a wee puppy. It was a
Hopefully
husky.
you didn't kill a dog.
No, I strangled it. I'm just kidding. I got a puppy, and it was a husky, and she was just like really crazy, like just like really intensely crazy, and I just really struggled with like just managing her because she was just really hyper, and I lived on like this farm in the middle of nowhere, and I like would just let her, we had chickens and everything, and I let her out to go to the bathroom, and I was like, oh, like, where is she? She's been out for a while. Again, she was only a puppy, like not that big at all. And then I was like, you know, going out and looking for her, and then I went in the chicken coop, and no joke, there was dead chickens everywhere. Like, she had killed them all. And I walk in, and she's eating the rooster alive. Like, the rooster is watching him, like her eat him, and it was he was still alive, and I flipped out. I couldn't look at this dog the same after. I had to I had her with a partner, and I was like, she's your dog now, I don't want to like, but I was just like, oh my god, like, yeah, I was like, Pasha, get the fuck inside, like, yeah. And then this rooster was still alive, and he was actually the nicest rooster. Like, you know how some roosters can be a bit of a dickhead, like, you know, and like peck the hens and stuff.
My dad's rooster's like that.
Yeah, he was like, he actually got bullied by the hens, and I was like, leave him alone. Like, you know, I like properly looked after them. And yeah, and then I had to kill him. I tried to call anyone to come and help and do it for me.
How did you do it?
I took a big rock.
Were you accurate?
There was nothing. I don't know. It was like basically he was looking at me, and I was like sobbing because he was like looking at me in fear. Yeah, literally, I was like, I'm so sorry, and it was one smash. It was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just like smash.
You did what you had to do.
Yeah, I left them all. I was like, no, and I just walked away, and I got in my car and I left, and I was like, I can't be there anymore. Like, this sucks. Like,
That's so
taking an animal's
traumatizing.
life is an emotional experience.
No, it was horrific because he was so scared. He was so scared of me, and I was just like, this is horrible. Like, we're not even like, it's not like I'm killing you to eat you. Like, I'm killing you because
Did you eat him?
I don't know. Not me.
Out of respect.
Yeah, not me. I think they were all ruined. Like, the dog had like ruined them all. To be honest, I had no idea. I didn't want to like talk
That
about.
dog
like,
is so close to being wild though. Like, you get some
Yeah,
dogs,
I
you look at him,
know.
you're like, that dog would not survive a minute in the world.
Yeah.
But that thing was like big
Proper
killing machine.
yeah, and
that's in its head. It's like that's its
I
DNA.
felt bad,
is to-
like,
is to
but I
kill.
just couldn't look at her the same because the vision of her eating the rooster while it was like it was so I'm laughing because it's so horrible. But yeah, and
Feet first?
yeah. Oh,
Ew.
like, just in like a snake.
What part of an animal would you eat first if you were eating it alive?
Definitely not the feet. Because they're
Not the
dirty.
feet?
Well, because they've been walking around on the ground, so probably like the side.
The side. You would just lift the wing up and be like, I'm going to start
Right, I'm
here.
just going to bite here.
It's a good question for a podcast though. Like, if you had to eat an animal alive, where would you start?
Or what
I
kind?
wouldn't. I would starve myself and then kill myself because I wouldn't want to do that.
Okay.
Like, I literally, I don't think...
Start eating myself.
I do eat meat, but I couldn't kill an animal. And if somebody was like, you can never eat meat again unless you kill this animal, I would never eat meat again.
That would solve a lot of carbon issues.
I know, it would. It really would.
Like, people are not on my side of thinking. I'll tell people that, like, openly in conversation that I've shot deer and I intend to do it again, and people are like, how could you do that? And
But
that's so fucked up.
Deer are the
different.
type of person that should be allowed to eat meat because you...
But I then eat
can
other
do
meat that I haven't deserved the right to eat.
Yeah,
But
but I
as in,
think
like-
deer are different though. They can ruin an ecosystem. Like literally, if they get, I don't know. That's
Deer
Every
are
animal's like that.
totally
Yeah.
fine in an ecosystem where there is
there's a predator, but there's no more predators
There's no
anymore.
equality
Yeah.
in Scotland, and deer are just destroying. I mean, it's a hotly contested issue right now. But
Yeah.
do you know what, the way I see it is better for us to select an animal that's going to maybe take the food of a young animal that winter, and then someone's going to be starving. If you take an older animal that's going to die anyway in the next year or two, it's had a good life, it's been wild, it's run free, you take its life in a responsible way, you shoot it clean, it falls. It's way better than some
Factory.
it's like the Forestry Commission in Scotland shoot animals from helicopters and let them rot on the hill, and that
Ew.
it's just control. Like there is so many deer, they're shooting like 20, 30 beasts a day from a helicopter and letting them rot on the side of a hill. So the way of doing it responsibly with fewer people, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That happened in Australia with camels. So
Really?
they sent over some camels from somewhere, and they
Humans are
basically
wild.
started breeding like crazy, and now they're literally sending people out there to kill camels, like because there's so many of them, and they just keep like breeding like crazy.
That's so weird.
I know.
Stupidity of humans
I can't imagine
baffles me
camels
sometimes.
breeding.
I know.
We'll just chuck this animal that's not even indigenous.
It's
Just chuck
not-
it and
yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah, literally.
Oh, they've
They
done
had
too
the
well.
frog
Let's kill them.
epidemic in Australia. They brought some frog there, and it like you couldn't see the ground for frogs for a period of time. They had to like get people over from Britain to like frog killers.
Yeah, literally.
Frog
We need to
killers.
Google that and
That's
fact check that one.
Frog killers.
That's a wild claim.
We go frogging.
What's your job?
Frogging.
Frog
work.
killer?
I'm a frog killer.
Pardon?
Frog
Or
killer.
frog assassin.
Frog assassin.
With the sniper rifle from the hill. Tew, 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 tew. That would be quite funny.
No, my friend killed a frog in front of me once, and I literally was like, I'm not your friend anymore.
Fair enough. That's so weird.
She literally was like, ew, it's so disgusting, and then she like stabbed it. It was black, and I was like, But it's
She
a
might have problems
being.
in the future.
What a psycho.
I was like, it's a fucking being. Like,
Unless
why
she
would
was
you
French
kill
and
it?
she had garlic waiting on the hob, like that is not okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
carry garlic around her all the time. I'm joking, I don't hang around her anymore.
She's
We're not friends.
That one
frog
incident.
killer.
Yeah, she's a
Yeah.
frog. She's a frog assassin.
She is a frog assassin. If ever there was one.
Yeah, we go frogging where I'm from. You wear your snake boots and you go frogging.
And what do you do?
You look for the bubbles and you like in the kind of like swampy area, and then you like just go in and a frog. It's a huge bullfrog, and then you
That
eat
is
it.
terrifying.
You eat it? Like
There is-
I
French?
don't eat it. I don't eat
I
frogs.
was like French
no,
people?
I was never into that. But like I always have like cousins or something be like, come on, Melon, let's go coon hunting. And I'm like, oh my god, that's so horrible. Yeah, like raccoons, like yeah, everything.
So I'll be
Any
lots of
alternate
raccoons.
animal, they just say, well, it tastes like chicken.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all it-
Gator
it
does
tastes
taste
like
like chicken though. Like
Does
I've had alligator and it does taste like chicken. Alligator's really nice.
Just have chicken then.
No, it's cooler. No, alligators are wee fuckers in Louisiana. They like eat people on the reg. Like anytime there's like rain and a flood, people are getting eaten. Like yeah.
Gross.
Anyways,
It'd be a slow death.
yeah. No, it
Especially
really would be.
especially like a smaller one that would just like it would
Nibble.
really struggle to drown you and then
Yeah.
take you down slow.
No, that's horrible.
Yeah.
No, it was weird. Like growing up, that was like the animal that I saw. Like obviously dogs and cats, and then alligators.
Terrifying.
Like yeah, like just right. Like I remember.
They're so scary the way they attack you as well. You walk past them, you wouldn't even see them. They wouldn't even know they were there.
It's
Ankle
quite intense.
grab, and then you get dragged in.
And then they do the death roll.
I'm like, I wouldn't survive for 1 second.
No.
I'm like, literally, you said that.
Fetal.
You just said that, and I was like, yeah, I'd be dead immediately.
Yeah, poke them in the eye. I actually don't know if that's right.
Have you ever had any like crazy shark experiences or anything while surfing? I'm just curious.
I lived in Western Australia for almost a year. And when I lived there, it was the most dangerous place in the world to surf because of the amount of great white shark attacks.
Shit.
Attacks?
Yeah. So there was 2 experiences I had when I was there. There was a guy who disappeared at a way called Lefties. And Lefties is a really bad place to get bitten by a shark because it's like a 20-minute walk. So if you got bitten there, you would be pretty fucked.
Yeah.
But I never saw a shark when I was there.
Oh.
Never. I saw one breach miles out. I'd never seen a shark. I think if you see them, you're not going to get eaten by them. That's what they say there, because they're coming from deep below to attack you. But I was in the water when someone got bitten in half, and it was quite a weird experience.
No.
Okay, from the start, please.
From the start.
There was a guy called Adam. I have to tell this respectfully because obviously someone's lost their life. But there was a guy called Adam who was a local there. I think he was originally from Sydney. And it was, I have to tell the full story. I was like, should I even tell that? Because it sounds so weird, the full story. But
let's hear it.
We'd been in the pub the night before, and this guy called Adam, who I didn't even know his second name, but he was travelling friends of a friend called Simon of mine, a really good friend of Simon of mine. And he was outside, and he was wearing a hoodie, like a body warmer like this, and a winter hat, and it was autumn in Western Australia. It wasn't that cold, but it was getting cold. He was wearing board shorts and flip-flops. And we kept saying to him, he was like a guy, like, I don't even know the right words that we said, but we were like, he's almost like 2 people. It's almost like he's like separate person from the waist. And I don't know if this relates to anything that I'm going to tell you, but that has to be told at the start of the story because that is an important part of the story. So we ended up getting far too drunk with it, like, as a thing, and I, stupidly being Scottish and just being young and silly, ended up partying until 4 a.m, and we were all meant to drive to a place, a wave on the north. There was a really big swell the next day, so it was like a wraparound, and it came around the top, and everything on this coast was too big or maxing out, so we went up to this point at the top, and I was like 2 or 3 hours late in the morning. Like, you wake up, you're dreary, and you just got in the car, probably shouldn't have been driving. Went to go up, and there's 2 waves there. There's a wave right at the front, which is quite soft and relaxed, and there's a wave called Boneyards. It's a ridiculous name, but there's a wave called Boneyards. It's just a really shallow, heavy beach break, and a lot of bodyboarders would go there, and surfers, but you had to be pretty good to surf and pretty on your game. And I was like, I'm fucking hungover. I'm going to surf the easy one. So I went straight at the front and surfed away. All my mates were down there. I just couldn't be ass walking. It was like a mile down the beach to get there. And not considered a really sharky place, but there was also a seal colony out in one of the points. It's just sharky around there everywhere. Like, there's not really a place that you would be guaranteed to be safe.
No.
And came in all good, was trying to track down my friends, so I started walking down the beach to where they were surfing. I was like, I'll just sit on the sand and wait for them to come in because I'm just like cooked now. And there was a really weird vibe in the air, and I'm not just saying that because I know what happened next, but there was a very somber, it was very still, and there was just a weird vibe. And as I went down, there was a towel like in a heap, and it looked like someone was sleeping, and my mates were just like looking pale as shit and not in a good place. And I went up and talked to them, and like 2 of them were crying, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? And they were like, that's that guy, Adam, he got bitten. He got bitten. And I was like, well, was he okay? Like, what the fuck, is there like ambulance? He's like, nah, there's only just the top half of him there. So he'd been bitten with a wetsuit on. And they said when he went down, he kind of shook and went pale, and then popped up, and then went down, and then popped up again, and that was it. There was like just the top half of him there, and they never got
the bottom.
They never got his hips down.
Because the shark would have eaten it.
It would have, it would have gone. It was a one bite situation as well. So they found it in Sizer, because I think sharks quite often lose their teeth. They found it in Sizer, and they reckoned it was like a 6 or 7 meter white shark pointer.
And because they have to find the shark and then kill it, right? Is that a thing?
They went hunt. So this was national then. Then his mum was flown over from Sydney, and there was a big paddle out with flowers. It was a big event in the area.
Oh my god!
So everyone then, so then the surf community of Margaret River is an incredible place, and like being Scottish and having enjoyment for surfing bigger waves. I knew, and I worked in the bar there, so you know a lot of the people. So there was almost like an unofficial wake in the pub that night. So we went back to the pub, and we were just like. Dude. Not many words were being said. It was heavy. We all had a drink, and me and Simon made a deal that we were going to go surfing the next day, because if we didn't, we probably would have never gone surfing in Western Australia again. So we went surfing the next day, and this is where the story kind of gets a bit funnier, because we went out the next day to a wave called Joey's Nose, which is like it's in like a group of rocks. It's like a bay, a sheltered bay, and you would never expect there to be any sharks in there. So we went for a surf there, and that night went for a beer, and we spoke to this like old school fisherman. He was like, "Fuck, boys, I saw a massive shark in this bay," and we were like, "What?" We were like, "There is no sharks," and he's like, "Oh fuck yeah, there's loads of massive pointers in there," and we were like.
That's a good accent, by the way.
Yeah.
He was like, far out. I can't do it anymore.
It was great though.
But he was just like, nah, there's like big sharks in there. He's like, I saw a big shark in there today, and we were just like, oh my god. But like we went surfing again, and that guy lost his life. And if there was anyone that would have been more sound about getting eaten by a shark, it was that guy. He was the most
sound.
Because you that sounds ridiculous. That sounds flippant, but like. You're aware as a surfer that
especially
that
in Australia,
happen, and you have to be okay with it. Like you're not gonna like say like I want to be eaten by a shark, or like I'm stoked about it, but you have to be okay that it might happen. That's a tangible risk of surfing in that area.
That's so today me and Melanie were talking about expecting the worst. So that's literally what I mean. It's kind of like you don't want it to happen, and you're not anxious all the time that it's going to happen, but you know that it might happen. Yeah. So therefore you're mentally prepared that you're content with this.
But I think the term expecting the worst just kind of rubs me wrong, because I feel like that's just, it has such like a negative undertone, like expecting the possibilities. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like you might have this possibility.
The worst.
Yeah, like so that's what I mean. It's like expecting the worst. Like for me, I just feel like that just sounds so, understanding the worst is better. Like, I like that. I like that a lot.
It's all about wording.
Yeah.
Because I literally in every episode, I'm like, everything's about communication, because we're all talking words and we think we're communicating, but it's all about how you say something. So it's like, for you, if I just said a different word, then you would have completely gotten what I was trying to say, because it wasn't about the wording, it was about the context of the thing. Yeah. So people get really caught up in like words.
There is like a tiny little offshoot of that story about Scotland. It's just a funny story, but there was a guy that said he saw a shark in the Moray Firth, which is up where there's like I think there might even there have been killer whales up there and stuff. Yeah. And dolphins, a lot of dolphins, and there is port beagles. There's a Scottish shark which doesn't eat humans and eats fish, and this guy had reported online on like surfing like Facebook pages and stuff, and a newspaper posted this thing saying man spotted a shark in the water and it breached and splashed him or whatever. And I was out surfing this wave up in Thurso, and there was a guy in the water, and I was like, did you hear about that guy seeing the shark? And I just started talking without really thinking, and I was like, man, that guy's fucking so stupid. Imagine you thinking there's like a proper shark there. And he was just looked at me deadpan in the eyes and was like, yeah, that was me. And there's fucking nowhere to go in that situation. You're surfing a wave. There's nobody else out.
No.
There's like, it's the most awkward. If a seal could have grabbed my ankles and taken me down, I would have happily gone to the bottom.
Bye.
And I just was like this. So just start like.
So how's your day?
Paddling underwater. Like, just shimmying over a wave, just the awkwardness expanded.
That's so funny.
Hope he doesn't listen to this and be like, that guy's an asshole.
That guy again.
That guy. Stop talking about it.
The guy called me out to my face. What did? accidentally.
You'd probably be like feeling anxious that people were thinking or saying that, and then you literally said it.
I was just like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, to his face.
I'd have been like, I honestly probably would have tried to save myself and be like, okay, then what did it look like? Like that, some shit that got really defensive.
I saw a cat once. It was called a puma.
Yeah. I saw a panther. I was like,
because I was trying to think of another cat, like a tiger.
Have you had any near-death experiences?
Other than almost drowning.
Yeah.
It was pretty silly when I was young. Well, there was, I nearly got pretty smoked in an avalanche. I did a season at Courchevel when I was a ski instructor when I was 17 and 18. In between going to school and deciding actually going to uni was a good call. But the resort had been closed. Courchevel 1650 had been closed. I taught just kids because I wasn't leveled up enough to teach adults yet. But I taught kids and classes were off. It was -25 and it'd been snowing for like a week.
Yeah.
And there's this amazing run called the Shanrossa, and it was the perfect gradient to go really fast and ride like it's like big mountain riding for someone that's not as good as the big mountain guys. And I remember going up there the day that the first lift opens, and they were like, at your own risk sort of situation.
Shit.
You go out if you want. We had transceivers. We were like tooled up to do that thing, and I was with my mate, and a snowboarder was above me, and he was climbing, and he dropped in. Wasn't aware of what he was doing. He dropped into a line and triggered an avalanche above me, and I literally didn't think. I just let my skis go, going backwards, and the thing washed the tip of my skis and dragged me into it, but just on the periphery, and it was like concrete up to my hips.
Oh my God.
And that was pretty fucked up.
What was your mind like when all of that was going on?
I didn't think of anything. I just was like, I need to get far away from the situation. I was raging at the guy as well, because I was like, that guy, he's just ruined the perfect day. Like, we were so stoked.
Nothing about this. You almost killed me. No,
he didn't actually. Like, if I'd stayed where I was, I would have got buried, and then it would have been up to the people around me to rescue me. But
no, that's so scary.
That was.
How long did it take for them to get you out?
I was like up to my waist.
Yeah.
But I've looked for people in the same season. It was a really dangerous season because there was a lot of temperature fluctuation between very cold and warm.
Yeah.
And we dug for someone, and that was a body situation. I never saw the body because I thought it would have fucked me up too much. But we dug for someone, as the ski instructors were all called to go to this area and be like, there's 2 people gone down on this slope. It was Sleer, and we were asked to go in. So skiing's a dangerous sport.
Yeah.
But
this is why I don't like mountains. Solidifying my fear.
That's why I always sit at home. I'm always safe here.
There was a period of my life where I crashed some vehicles when I was just starting to drive. One of those I very nearly died in.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it like your fault, or was it just like an accident?
It was completely my fault. I was driving far too fast, showing off my friends. It was it's a really awkward situation because it's the night before I went to university.
Oh shit.
And I'd borrowed my mum's car and gone out for drinks with 2 of my really good friends who were going to different universities. Mm-hmm. And like, I didn't really get the grades initially, so I was going to summer school to then earn the right to go to university. I decided that I wanted to go down that academic route, and I wanted to learn about business and actually put context into what I was doing. And I was like, Mum, can I borrow your car? And she was like, yeah, you just be sensible. Don't drink. Didn't drink. Had like maybe half a beer, and that was okay.
Of course.
The law allowed it at that stage. And I was just like, check how fast this car can go. Like, just being a total dick. And went in the corner far too fast, lost control, went sideways.
No.
Turned the car through a fence into what is a race course. And
what? Oh my God.
Like a horse race course, or like?
We crashed at like 75, 80 miles an hour and flipped.
Oh.
And spun and did a load of stuff. And I just looked at my mates and I was like, because time literally slows down in that moment. You have zero control, and you're like,
no, that's so
and you're going round and round, and you're just like, what? Where are we gonna land?
Yeah, like you're just like, you have to go moment. Like limp, like.
It's a life-defining moment.
That's it. Were any of you guys hurt, or like were you fine? No
one was hurt. We all walked out of it. We walked out of the car and stood and looked at it, and we were like, let's get our story straight. There was a deer in the road. And I phoned my dad, and I was like, Dad, we've just told the car, like, what do you think we should do? And he's like, what are you drinking? And I was like, I'd had one half beer. He was like, let me come and see the car first, and then we'll make a decision together. So he just drove over, and he was like, you were going too fast, weren't you? Because he looked at the marks on the road, and he was like, you were going too fast. And I was like, we were going sideways around that corner.
Oh my God, that's so scary.
Whoa. No, I was gonna say you're so lucky to be alive. Like,
I've used quite a lot of the 9.
I was gonna say you're like a cat.
Possibly halfway through my stories of nearly dying. I'll maybe just chill there.
I've got one. Just because we're talking about car wrecks. I've been in a few. I've got, like, not my fault. This one was technically my fault, but it was like a medical condition. Let me bring it all the way back. When I was younger, my mom used to pass out from, like, not eating if she, like, her blood sugar dropped, and it was never really that bad. And I never thought I would have it, and then I hit high school, and I wasn't like I was eating as normal, but like I tried to go vegetarian. Like, you know, I was like, I'm vegetarian now. I was like 2 weeks into being vegetarian. I obviously wasn't eating the right stuff to like have a balanced diet. And I used to be a part of this like charity group where these girls would volunteer and do like charity work. It was called the Juniorettes. I was only in it for a month, and then I realized I was like, oh, like this isn't my group like, of people. And then we had to go to this like old person's house who decorated their home for Christmas, like really, really nicely, like really fancy home. And then we just had to help old people around, like who like, so I was on the stairs duty, and I had to like help old people up the stairs and stuff. It was quite fun. And then I was standing at the top of the stairs, and apparently I just like turned around, looked at my friend who was on the banister, and I was like, I don't feel good. And then she said that I just like turned back around, looked forward, and then I just went like forward and just straight head first down the stairs and went down 13 steps of stairs, like rolled down, and then was at the bottom. And then I just started having like a full-on seizure, like at the bottom. I don't remember any of it. Like obviously I was in like La La Land. Like, yeah, it just feels like you're in like a dream state. And then I woke up, and like all these old people, my friend was like staring over me, and like she was crying and stuff, and I was just like looking at everyone, and I looked down and I was like, where's my shoe? Like that was like the first thing I said. I was totally fine. Went to the hospital, and they were like, you're hypoglycemic, you've got low blood sugar, like low insulin and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, but they didn't tell me really what to do about it or how to prevent it, how to know like signs before I like have moments where I pass out or like have a seizure and shit.
You still have this?
Yeah. Like the last time I had a seizure was like, but it's like, it's worse now. Like I have to really be on top of it, because if I genuinely think if I were to pass out and have a seizure now, like I would go into a coma. Like the last one was so bad that like I got amnesia the next day. Like I couldn't remember who or where I was. And anyways, that's another story.
You need to eat food constantly.
Yeah, just like sugar,
it's
not
an amazing
sugar.
excuse to
I
eat
know,
food all
literally,
the time.
it's bad.
You sit in a buffet the whole time. I need to be here.
Yeah, but
like, I'm sorry, I know this is all you can eat, but I actually have to be here.
I actually have to. It's a medical condition. Yeah,
it's like I have to know, because she starts to say, "I'm not hungry." Like
it's when my brain stops working, I start remembering stuff, even though I'm fully aware. I don't really remember like.
She tells you not to help her, basically. Like, she starts being like, I'm fine. Shit. And I'm like,
you need to know her well.
Yeah, so when she says, I'm fine, I'm like, no, you're not. And I'm like, stop everything immediately. We need to get you food.
Yeah. Because I'm such a nurturer. I don't like people taking care of me. Like, I'm, like, very strongly independent. Whereas, like, yeah, like, sometimes to my own doom in that sense, where I'm like, yeah, like, I remember we were filming, and then I realized like my blood sugar's dropping. I don't feel well. My face, my whole demeanor changes. That's how you know.
She's like,
yeah.
I know a type 1 diabetic, and it's very similar to that.
Yeah. It's like not as bad. You can see it
happening, because they're just like, he's a very energetic person, and all of a sudden he's just like
that. It was literally like that.
And my brain stops working.
There's nothing behind his eyes.
Oh my God, that's so true.
You just shove a Mars bar in his mouth, like just like. Post it.
Eat it. No, that's what Jade had to do.
And then he's just like, as soon as the sugar hits, he's like, whoa, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's literally word.
Maybe I'm diabetic.
Like, that's exactly how you are. It's like, and then as soon as you have like a bite of food, it's like you're resurrected.
He's now got this amazing thing in his arm, and it senses, and it just goes deep, and just gives him a little hit of what he needs.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I saw a girl
Really
with that
cool.
thing.
Oh, yeah, true
I would
that.
hate that thing because I would catch on anything.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm a catcher.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
just
Yeah.
like rip
Rip
it.
it
It's a
off,
hook.
yeah. That's just, hook it. Anyways, right, I'll keep going.
But it's necessary to be alive,
Yeah.
so worth it.
No, I would.
So worth it.
If I was in that position.
So I pass out and I get told by a doctor, nothing, like I didn't really know. And I was kind of like, again, I was very, like my mom wasn't around that much. Like, so I kind of just did my own thing all the time. And I had a group of friends in my car and I was driving. We had just gotten out of school and I hadn't eaten since breakfast. Like I didn't like the school lunches. It was like really crap food or whatever. And we were literally, I was driving. I had my car with 2 friends in the back, 1 friend in the front. And we were driving to go to a Mexican restaurant and we have like a highway. So imagine this highway and I'm driving on this highway, which is like, you can drive like, let's say 60 miles an hour or something. And then it had this fork or not fork, but this turnoff in the road to the left. And that's where literally the restaurant was right on the corner on that like left-hand kind of road. In the middle of the highway and that road is a gas station sitting in the middle. So I'm driving, and while I'm driving, we're about to go and eat. I didn't realize it was that long since I'd eaten. And then once I have like 1 week, if I'm like low sugar 1 week, it fucks me up for the rest of the month. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like I just passed out maybe a week or 2 ago before. And again, I didn't know any of this. And then while I'm driving, apparently I just look at my friend and I say, I don't feel good. And then that's it. I pass out while I'm driving, foot hits the gas. We are going 60 miles an hour on probably even faster on the other side of the road on the highway, like head on into an 18-wheeler. And I'm passed out, and I'm like foot on the gas, making us accelerate the whole time. My friend in the front seat is obviously freaking out, being like, Melanie, and I'm just like not waking up. So she like slaps the wheel so that we miss the 18-wheeler, but then we're going directly straight for the gas station. Apparently, again, I don't remember, we like kind of bumped 2 cars on the way there, which luckily slowed us down.
Holy shit.
And then we missed all the gas kind of pumps as well, and we slammed straight into the brick wall of the gas station. But you know those big ice machines that they have outside? So it was like they have these like ice things where you can just go and buy ice, and it's like a big thing of it.
They
And
don't sell ice in Scotland.
No,
yeah, that's what I mean. It's
fucking
like that's what I'm
freezing
trying to like.
I was, like,
it's hard
trying to imagine
describe
it.
it.
Sell little hot water bottles in the stand.
Yeah, true that.
Some ice, yeah. So they have like these big metal kind of freezers outside of a gas station, and it's filled with ice. And then it was like a brick wall behind it, and that's what we slammed into. The only thing I remember is I thought I was dreaming. I woke up and all I could see was my car smashed, like the whole front of my car smashed. And then me in the car, like, do you know what I mean? And I thought I'm dreaming, and I remember going back out of it. Like, yeah, and like the airbags were out. Like, we just went 60 miles an hour into a fucking brick wall. And then I just remember waking up and it felt like my whole body was being set on fire. And because I'm so out of it as well, like I don't know what's going on, I thought my seatbelt was burning me. And so I just start freaking out and I'm like trying to get my seatbelt off, like just going really crazy. And I look over and my friend, her whole face was like bloody, and then I'm kind of taking it all in, and I'm hearing like my other friends in the back seat, and I look, and my friend's dad was at the gas station. So the girl in the front seat who was with me, her dad was at the gas station getting gas, and realized it was my car that slammed in there, and he like literally was opening the door, and his daughter was in the front seat.
Oh my God.
When we had hit, because she was seeing it all happen as well, she braced her legs on the airbag to brace the impact. What do you think happened? The airbag came out, literally shattered both of her like ankles and feet, like shattered both of them, like straight away. And I'm freaking out because again, I don't really know what's happening. So I'm trying to get out and I can't get the seatbelt off. And one of my friends, like really good pals, was at the gas station as well, saw what happened. He comes and like undoes my seatbelt and just lets me stand up like an idiot. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I just had a car wreck. But again, I was flipping out. And then I immediately hit the deck. Like I like hit the floor and start having a seizure like in the middle of this glass. Like, yeah, on the ground. And then I just come to whenever the ambulance was like there. And yeah, and like they were like putting me in the car, putting like my friend in the car as well, like all my friends or whatever. And yeah, so she had like I had fractured. The reason why I felt burning was because I had fractured my sternum. Like,
that's what I did in my crash.
Oh, it's so horrible.
I cracked mine.
Yeah, like it's so
always
sore.
clicks now. It's really weird. It clicks when I do certain things.
No,
yeah.
Please don't.
That actually made my hands sweat, that story.
Yeah,
no,
like
I
literally.
had goosebumps.
But it didn't even stop as well. Like people from the gas station tried to like sue me because they were trying to prove that I was on drugs. But it was like 3:00 in the afternoon and I'm like 16. What am I doing drugs? Like I'm not a crackhead. Like, do you know what I mean? And so I lost a lot
drugs
of friends because it was the rumor. It was the rumor that spread around was at school was that I was on drugs and I almost killed my friend. Like, yeah, because she had to actually relearn how to walk. Like, yeah, I was there every day, though. I was by her house every day. I helped her do all of her homework. Like, I collected all of her things. Like, do you know what I mean? And, like, loads of people at high school didn't speak to me afterwards.
You're just a child.
I know. And I was just like, but I had, like, medical proof that I had this condition and this is why I passed out. Like, they took my bloods. Everything was clean. They were like, yeah, you have, like, your sugar's really low, all these different things. I had to go to court. They tried to sue me. Like, so
that's terrifying.
Yeah, it was so
God.
scary. Like, we had to get a lawyer and everything and nothing, like, obviously it was fine. Like, you know, I'm here now. But it was nuts because, like, one thing, you can't breathe when you have a fractured sternum. I'd, like, fucked my knee up as well. Like, I'd, like, my whole hand was, like fucked as well. Like, yeah. And the people in the back, luckily, they were fine. Like, one of my friends hit his head. And then the other one, like, fractured a wee bit of her hip, but was fine. But that was a crazy life-defining experience. Yeah, we could have died so many. Like, we could have went head on. And that, like, combines both, like, if they're going 50 and I'm going 60, that's a combination of, like, that impact. But this is why another reason I'm, like, fate has, like, kept me alive. The ice box that we ran into, apparently the delivery guy was running late that day. And it was, like, completely empty. I spoke to the paramedics and all of them afterwards, and they literally said, if that guy would have been on time and that would have been full, you would be dead. You and your friend in the front seat would be dead because of the extra impact of the ice, plus the metal, plus, like, yeah, the brick wall. It was in the front page of the newspaper where I'm from as well. It was horrible.
I was like, you're a celebrity.
No, it was fucking horrendous. Especially being in high school, like, it was brutal.
That's
like,
awful.
Yeah, just first day back at school, no one would speak to me. Like, literally, even the people who were in the car wouldn't speak to me because they were scared of being, like, ostracized. Like, yeah. What the fuck?
Instead of being like, are you okay?
Yeah, some
what
people
happened?
I had, like,
Do you
maybe
know what I
like
mean?
my sister's friends and then, like, maybe like a couple friends, but loads of them I was like, that was the moment I was like, fuck high school. I was like, I'm dropping out of this piece of shit place. Like, yeah.
No,
But
fuck high school.
That was a crazy story.
Fuck high school.
Moral of the story, we hate you.
I went back to my school
Yeah.
to do a talk on business, and it was the funniest thing ever because I was speaking to teachers that all made me leave their classes for being
That's so
the
funny.
joker or being silly or
Yeah.
not doing work or not concentrating or hiding under my desk or whatever stupid thing I was doing at that
Yeah.
time, or telling them they were wrong. But I had to go speak to them as an adult, and they were like, "So Ross, how's it going?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's all right, not bad."
Obviously, really well.
Well, like, it was during I was in my 20s still. It was during my first business, and it was a really surreal experience.
Yeah.
Like, going into the staff room and having a cup of tea with these people that you kind of were meant to have hated.
That's so funny.
It was a very strange experience,
Yeah.
but an enjoyable one.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I was basically told the kids that school isn't everything in the speech. I was just kind of a little fuck you to them.
Yeah.
I was like, school isn't everything. It's amazing for some people, but with some people it's not the way they learn the best. So
Yeah.
don't stress about it.
Don't stress.
No, 100%. Like, honestly, because you were saying that because you had when did you find out that you had ADHD?
Literally about 3 months ago, officially.
Are you being serious?
No, genuinely, that's when I officially found out.
So then the school would have been so hard.
I was going through CBT with a lady called Paula, who's amazing.
Yeah.
And she was like, "You've got quite an extreme form of ADHD," and I was like, "Yeah, it's been talked about, but it's never been like dealt with."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Yeah, you should do some reading on this." And as I was reading, it was like there was multiple light bulbs going off at the same time. Like, wow, that explains that, and that's why I do that, and it was helpful. It's been a good journey, like one which I've probably I've not cleaned myself up. Sounds like I'm like an
addict.
Is it A?
Yeah.
That's good that I don't know what it is. Like not drinking in the week, like through lockdown, I just drank beers every night. It was amazing. Just like fuck it, like this is lockdown. It's like an extended holiday where I get to renovate this property and just drink beers and have a good time. And I got high like every day in lockdown, and it was amazing, and I enjoyed it. And then at the end of it, I was like, this is quite unhealthy. Yeah. And then I started looking at ADHD, and I was like, these things don't correlate. I need to maybe, but it's been a very good journey, like learning about how that affects your mind and what kind of cravings and tics it gives you.
Yeah, that's crazy, because if you didn't know that in school, then they wouldn't have been able to support you at all. But obviously, you were saying earlier that we didn't even know what ADHD was. No. So
and there's very extreme forms of it. Like some people with ADHD cannot be given a bank card because they will just go fucking wild and buy everything until they have no money. So I'm not like that at all. Like I run my own business, I can't do that. I've got people, I have staff that need to be paid, and that's my responsibility as an employer. And I'm like, you just can't do that, and I don't have the urge to do that. So that's amazing. But other things, like with the sports side of it, if I don't do exercise or I don't get some form of dopamine in my mind from a sport that is linked to adrenaline, I'm a fucking nightmare to be around.
Bro, I feel that.
So I just have to give, like this morning I've been surfing already, and like I'm not gonna like hide that from my wife. I'm gonna be like, I'm going surfing tomorrow morning, and she's like, excellent, and she knows that that's it's getting around the guilt of it when you're in your own business, because you could be making money doing it, and at that same time you could be productive. So it's getting around the guilt of that's something you need to learn over time.
But how can you make money if you're hyper and you can't do
focus?
Badly, you can do
you know what I mean?
Badly.
Exactly. So it doesn't benefit you in the long run. So understanding yourself and knowing what helps you will only make you better. So
100%.
Yeah,
but you don't do that when you're intense. In it. When you're in it, like my last business, that was one of my best friends. We ran this business together, and we were just young and full of energy with no commitments. Like it was amazing. It was very raw, and it grew faster than we knew how to scale it. So it was running and gunning to the nth degree. And that whole time I was just like not satisfying anything else, and was probably in hindsight deeply unhappy. Like in myself, not in the business. The business was fine. It was doing well. But fuck, then I stopped doing it. I was like, oh my God, that was a really toxic culture that I was a part of. So
the startup culture where it's like go.
It's regressive because you're hammering yourself to make sure that you meet these expected targets or financial targets. It was a catering company.
Oh, okay.
So we had like mobile catering units. We did bars at events.
That's busy. Yeah, especially in Scotland, they love events. Yeah. So
and we did events from.
It was called Love Events.
They love events, and I was like. Yeah, that's so cool.
We had contracts from like London all the way up to. We even did stuff from France. Like we were all over the place. We were shipping food to France
so cool.
In the winter. Working in ski resorts doing winter markets. So like we were a 365 business that were like at the end there was 44 staff, and it was like really intense.
Yeah,
seasonal staff. So in the summer there'd be a 44, and in the winter we'd have like a skeleton crew of like 6 of us. But it was really fun. But now going to an event, I'm like, fucking hate events.
Yeah. No, I studied events management.
Okay.
I literally, I went into catering when I was 16, and I was like, okay, I want to be the manager of this. I don't want to be catering people. I want to manage everyone. And then that's why I ended up going into events management. And then by third year, I was running my decor business and I was like, I'm not doing events, fuck this. Because I realized I was like, I will have to be antisocial. I have to work nights. It's like, you're doing such a social job for everyone else, but you're being so antisocial for yourself.
It's a soul-sucking job. Because, like, that's why when you see... I remember having this almost, like, moment when I saw I turned to an event. So we did, like, bars. We did, like, 24 weddings a year. We had, like, contracts in venues as well. So we would run the whole contract by the end of it. And I remember seeing the lineup of all these catering events. I don't even know what it was, but there was like 50,000 people there, and there was like 12 catering units, and you got slammed for like 6 hours straight.
Yeah.
And I looked at the guys, and they were like, they were rich in material possessions, so they would like have a Range Rover that pulled their truck, and they would like financially look like they were set up, but they looked fucked, like wrinkly, knackered. Because you would go to an event and set up on a Thursday. You would work over the weekend. You would break it down on the Monday. Then you would try and get back to base to then regroup, restock, and then go to the next event on the Wednesday, Thursday. But if you're down south, there's no point coming home. So what you would do is just order all your orders to the next event and then just go meet the orders there. So I remember being on the road for like maybe 5 or 6 weeks straight at one point, living in travel lodges, and I hadn't had a day off for maybe like, I don't know, like genuinely maybe 9 weeks. And I was just like, these people look so unhappy. And they're like 50 and they look fucked. They look about 70. And I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore.
No,
in
what's
that
the
moment,
point? What's the point of doing something like that unless you absolutely live like literally live for that? Like that's your life and you love it. But unless you have to have that.
It's a great business for young people though, because you can outlay your money on a Wednesday and the bank has your money by the Monday. So for cash flow, it's an amazing business. And you're selling small items with high profit margin. So a coffee costs 14 pence, whatever. You sell it for 2.50. It's a great margin. So it's a good one for young people to learn a business. But in terms of like having a family or having a life outside of that, it was great in the early days because I would go surfing all winter and then work all summer. But as commitments started to come in, I was like, this is not really for me. And luckily, my business partner was in a position to buy me out. So I went from being flogged and not looking forward. As soon everyone was like, summer's here, it's amazing. I was like, fuck, summer's my least favourite time of the year. Winter, can't wait to that moment. And I had this hiatus where I had like, the first time in my life I had a bit of money and the chance to tick off every adventure I want to do. So I had a really selfish 9 months and just had no girlfriend, had no commitments, and I just went for it.
That's awesome.
I converted a van and started surfing all these waves in Scotland that I was really excited to go. And I like lived in the Outer Hebrides for like an extended period and just was living it up. And then that's what led on to the second business, that's not the second business. There's been multiple failures in the middle. That I can talk about.
Tell us some of the businesses you've done.
They're probably the ones that are actually, they're probably the ones that kind of define you actually. So I think the one is successful at the moment that I'm involved in, Northbound Campervans, but probably had more failures than successes. The first ever business I ran was a wild mushroom business, which wasn't really a business. It was me and my mum going out into the woods. Actually, me going out into the woods and harvesting lots of chanterelles in season and ceps, and then going, when I was 16, my mum would drive me around. I'd go home and clean them and drive me around, and I'd go to all like the 5-star restaurants and hotels in my local domain. And I'd phone them up and I'd be speaking to like the most gruff 45-year-old head chef, and he'd be like, what you got? And I'd be like, I got like 5 kilos of chanterelles and a half a kilo of ceps. And he'd be like, how big are they? And I'd be like, kind of small and some big ones. Are they wet? And I'd be like, nah, they're dry, they're good. And he's like, how clean are they? So I just would go for this thing and he'd just berate me on the phone. And I'd be like, do you want them? And he's like,
no.
Aye.
Aye.
Like, you could say anything to those first 5 questions and he'd just be like, aye. Because he's just going to look at them and say yes or no.
Yeah.
So I would like drive around all sheepish and he'd be like,
here you go.
yeah. And he'd be like, I'll take these. They're shite. Take those. And like, they would be that brutal. Because they just were in that culture of just beating down anyone around them. And then they'd be like, I'll get £20 a kilo for those. And I'm like, nah, man, they're like $45 a kilo down in Borough Market. He's like, we're not in fucking Borough Market now. So I'm like trying to haggle with this guy. I had no power over him at all. He'd be like, he was dictating to me. So I'd be like, yeah, £20 is fine. Thanks. Thank you, sir. And then I'd get like my 80 quid, and I made $80 in like 4 hours. I was like, this is a business. So then I started thinking, and this is when I was like 16, I was like, how do I get them down to London? Because I get double the amount of money down there for the same product.
Clever you.
And then, well, I don't even know if it was clever. That was just my natural mindset.
That's clever as fuck. That's like, to think like that, that's super intelligent. Because you wouldn't just start... First, nobody thinks, oh, I'm just going to go and sell this. They're probably going to be like, oh, I'm going to make myself some soup or something. They wouldn't think to sell it in the first place. And then also to try and expand that idea and be like, this would make more money elsewhere.
Yeah.
People in business don't fucking think like that. Never mind a 16-year-old.
Maybe. I didn't really even think of that till now.
Super clever. Well done.
But you're not told you're clever at 16. You're just like playing. And it's unsustainable. And it's just, but it was my first foray into business, and it was a really important thing that probably set an enjoyment for it. And it wasn't even about the money. I just got a real buzz off meeting people and then thinking what I had was cool, and they wanted it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's like you have a product, or you find a product, and then someone likes it and they have use for it. And then I would phone up like a company called the Crest Company, who distributed like fine food products around to like Glen Eagles and like super high end places down south, like the Duck in London. And I'd be like, hi, I've got like wild mushrooms for sale. And they'd be like, okay. And I go in with a sample, and they'd be like, you're a child. do you invoice? And I was like, what's an invoice?
Oh.
So, but then I would like, but it was a seasonal business, and then I would get like 35 quid a kilo from that guy. So and it developed. And then I went to my granddad and was like, could you give me a loan? I want to start growing wild mushrooms. And he was like, nah, that's a terrible idea. And I was like, it's not. Like, this is how it works. Like, if I can work out how to crack this, no one's able to grow chanterelles. And I don't even think it's been done. But there would have been another shiitake or an oyster mushroom that you could have done. And now there's like a business like 2 miles away from his house in North Berwick that sells millions of pounds worth of mushrooms a year. The varieties I said. And I joke with him now. I'm like, you should have backed me. And ultimately, I came back from Australia, which I talked about earlier, saved up loads of money there. That was kind of half the reason, was to surf and earn money. I didn't not go there to party. I went there to earn money to start my first business. That was my plan. As soon as I graduated, because you could earn so much more money. I was like £26 an hour as a bartender there.
Yeah.
And when I came back, I said to my granddad, would you match the money I've got to invest in this, and I'll pay you back as soon as I've got it? And he was like, yes. So I think the mushroom stuff had set it up that the people were like, okay, he's not like stupid.
Yeah.
He's willing to graft, and he's gone off to Australia, whether it's the right or wrong decision for his business or his life. He's gone off and he's like done what he said he was going to do. So then the bit of faith, and then I remember going back to him and being like, here's your money.
Yeah.
And I was so proud of doing that. I was like, that's fucking amazing.
You would be.
And then I was like, can I have some more?
I mean, yeah. Please,
I'll match it.
Yeah.
And then we had that trust. So he was like not a bank figure to me. He didn't have enough money to be a bank figure to me, but banks don't lend to young entrepreneurs or whatever you want to call them, young business people. They don't lend. So you need to find someone that's going to trust you and back you.
Yes.
And is stoked to hear. Like, I would phone him every week and be like, this is what we did in our sales, and this is how the company's going. This is our plan for doing what we're going to do next. And he was like, he was part of it.
That's nice. So cool. And do you know what stood out to me? That you called companies and you wanted to collaborate. So like you were calling those like super, super expensive like restaurants and stuff. And I think that's the difference between a business person and someone who wouldn't do a business is because you have to have the balls to be like, I deserve to speak to this person and work with this person. And it's something I'm trying to overcome myself. Like there's a brand I want to work with on my street, and it's on my to-do list, and it's now an expired, like I give myself a date and a time by which I should contact someone. And it's expired, and I watch it every day, and I'm like, when am I going to get the guts to actually message these people?
Today.
Yeah. But that's funny. It's like, that's the difference between like yeah, like that you actually took that leap and you were like, I'm good enough to talk to these people. Like my product is good enough for me to be able to move forward, which is really cool.
That is really cool.
But I didn't even know if that was a tangible thought in my head. Like, I don't think I thought, oh, what if they say no?
Exactly.
Because my crazy mind's like, there's no way they'll say no.
Exactly.
If I tell them they need this and why they need it, like, and that's not even like, that sounds kind of arrogant, but like, what I've learned from business and what I've learned mainly from the things that haven't worked. I worked with 2 young guys in a marketing agency in Glasgow for a bit, and one of the guys there, Andrew, he was telling me about like, he'd read a lot of books and I hadn't read books because I find them boring, and that's like not a reason not to read a book, but like I just can't sit down for that long, so I'd podcast as my in-between.
Yeah.
And he was really into to learning business by books, and I just learned by doing. And he was telling me about process and sales and like talking about your process and like not selling by selling, and it didn't ever resonate with me at the time. I was like, yeah, that guy knows, that the confident or arrogant, you could call it, part of me was like, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, that's bullshit. You can't just read a book and learn business. It doesn't work like that. But actually, I was speaking to someone about a camper van. So since we've started this business, we didn't sell to the public at the start, but recently we've just taken custom people because it's really good for our cash flow, and it's really nice to meet people that want to build a van, and they're so stoked, because a lot of people have saved up their whole lives for this. This is not something that you can just go into a shop and buy. Like, it's maybe like a thought out process of like 10 years that you've put a bit of money away to, and like, you need to meet that expectation. That's a weight on your shoulders, a good weight. But when I talk to them, I'm never like saying like, buy our product because it's amazing. I just tell them our process. And I believe that our process is really good, and that ultimately gives you a better product. So the guy was right. He was saying the thing to me that was right. But in that moment in time, I was maybe too, not stupid, but like too headstrong to see what he was saying. So that's another part of business, is like listening to people.
Like, you still would have been practicing that. It's just you didn't know what it was called. I totally relate to that as well, because when I started my business, I just messaged this woman that I knew I knew she owned what's it called, like a property agency, and I was like, surely she has some flats that I could decorate. So I just messaged her and I was like, do you want me to decorate your house? And I took that leap and I did it, and then she was like, yeah, fine, and then it kind of went on from there. But actually, sorry, the previous year before that, when I messaged her the first time, she was like, nah, maybe later, like maybe in February. So in February I messaged her, and then I didn't know I was following up, but it was just because I just really wanted to do it. But in business terms, that's like, oh, you followed up and therefore you got your sale, blah blah blah, But I didn't know what that was.
There's processes that smarter people than me, like academically smart people than me, they have a process and they stick by it, and it works for them.
So what? It doesn't matter, because you're still doing the same thing. So it's like, natural. So what that you don't know what it's called?
Unstructured business can be really fun. Like, people are they're so
proper. Some of them, I don't know.
They're so governed by like systems and processes, and it like can really stifle what you can do. Then you can just be lost in the
terminology shit.
Mundane, like day-to-day sort of.
There's a longer. No, it's close.
No.
That's the first time I've gone blank. In the mundane of the daily, like, you can get lost in processes and systems, but if you're going to be creative and try and do something different, like, you need to think of it differently. So that's why being unstructured can actually be really good and fun.
And that's so nice to hear. As long as you don't forget the important things.
It's nice to hear like someone who, like, hear from someone who's like very successful in their businesses, and then you are, and then just like it not be like, this is why I'm like, it feels like sometimes when I talk to people who do business and run their own businesses, it's like they're reading out of a textbook, and I literally just zone out, and I'm like, I can't handle this. Like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. But then you're so like collaborative and like just uplifting, that like whenever we first met, I remember like being like, holy fuck, like, I don't know why, but like, he's a vibe. Like, I want to meet him. I want to be his pal. That's like, cool. It was really, really nice. Because you just expect, like, oh, you're meeting the owner of the business, whatever business it is, they're going to be, like, business-like. And then you were, like, t-shirt, shorts, like really chill.
I was
like,
driving really fast that day in my business partner's car, and it's it's not a piece of shit, it's actually a really good car, but it's like mega old, clapped out thing, and the brakes were smoking because I was driving so fast.
Yeah, I remember.
And I fell out of the car about an hour late, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we were late as well, so it was fine.
Being late is actually, like, if people understand lateness, people were viewing my house at the weekend, and they were like, I'm so sorry I'm late. I'm like, no, it's absolutely fine. I'm late for everything. And then you just put them at ease straight away.
Yeah,
like, you get a better result.
I love being late.
We literally said when you were late, where I was like, I actually love when people are late. Some people come 10 minutes early to
it gives me so much anxiety.
It's horrible.
No, I don't like it. Like, if
I think there's a rudeness.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to, like, you don't want to waste other people's time because that's not fair. Like, some people are really, like, my wife is like, she is on time.
Yeah.
If she's a minute late, she's like, pissed.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I have to be like to her, I'm so sorry. I think she's late for me because now she doesn't give a fuck. I've managed to rub off on her the right way.
That's nice.
Yeah. No, I'm like the only place I'm not late to is my family, like to my mom's house. If she says be there at a certain time, I'm gonna be there. Everywhere else, I'm fucking late. I can't help it. It's just like, even if I get up extra early, do everything extra early, I'll still be late.
Reason.
I don't know how. It just happens.
That's bad for catering jobs.
Fashion. Yeah. No, but we got paid so badly that I was like, fuck you. If you pay me on time, I'll come on time.
Oh, I lost like 80 pence, sorry. I'm never going to get that back. That 15 minutes. Damn.
Yeah. What did you use the money for? For what business did you use the money for when your grandpa like matched you?
Love Events.
Was it Love Events? That's why I was just curious.
Me and my business partner put 20,000 each, so I saved 10. He gave me 10.
That's
and I gave
sick.
him back.
Wow.
That's so sick. Well done. Oh my god, that's so cool.
But that set the course. So my first business partner was like, we buy everything outright.
Yeah.
And we own our destiny, because it was 2012 that we launched the business. Right after it was a recession. We launched a business in a recession, which is the best time to launch a business. I would say that to anyone who's young now, because if your business works in a recession, it's going to fucking boom when things are going
up.
So like, people, the most common thing when I say that I convert camper vans for a living, they're like, oh, it must be amazing right now. And I'm like, literally 9 months ago our business was nearly cooked, like completely cooked. We had all the stock ready for the year, and then we were told within 72 hours that no one was allowed to move for at least 3 months. And we're like, you cannot sell something over £25,000 to someone if they can't see it. They will not buy it blind. Like, I wouldn't buy it blind. That would be terrible. So people see what they want to see in success terms. Like, they see the good times, but the bad times of owning a business are fucking pretty scary.
Yeah.
I'm not someone that stays up I'll stay up and stress overnight about staff.
Yeah.
Because you feel a duty towards that person. Some of, like, the guy that we mainly work with, James, he's got a kid coming, so like, that's the responsibility I have to make sure he gets paid every month. So he's a family guy. So but in terms of the business, I do not give a fuck about it failing. Like, not in a way where I don't care if it doesn't fail, but it does not stress me out, because we'll just do something else.
Yeah.
Me and my business partner at the moment is another good friend of mine, and we for years have talked about doing something together. For years.
That's cool.
And I remember sitting him down in my mum and dad's, the porch of my mum and dad's house, and I was like, we should just do something, and just stop talking about it, because we drink 2 beers and we talk about how great it would be. Why don't we just fucking do it?
That's like me and Maggie. That it all started with like
sitting by the window. And it always happens, like, we always sit in the kitchen by the window and then chat. And then one day we were like, we should start a podcast. Yeah. And then we said it twice, and after the second time, it was like, we're starting this. Yeah. And we started applying to like grants. We're like, we're gonna make this happen, and here we are. I know. I'm the type of person that like, yeah, that's what I mean. Is like,
and if you realize
it will
that
get
at the start,
us into like whatever we're supposed to be in. Like, we obviously want to be in that sort of like sector of business or whatever it leads us to. Like, I don't know if we're gonna be doing this forever. I love it. I really, like, honestly, I've grown so much as a person since we started. Like, I've really, honestly, like, after every session we have like a cool down where we talk about everything, and every time I come to some like big realization, and I literally feel my brain growing, and
you always say that.
Yeah, and it's nuts. So I know this is here for a reason. Like, do you know, this is happening, whether it's for me, for you, for the people that's involved, but it's definitely going to lead me somewhere. Even yoga, like, I love teaching yoga, But that moment that I realized that I didn't want to do it full time was like exciting. Like I love change. I love like changing jobs and stuff like that and learning new skills and all this. Like, so I'm excited.
That is a tick of ADHD. Is change.
I love that. I love change. I love
usually,
moving. Like I love change.
People are usually afraid of change. That's what kind of stops the average person to do anything. Because like, you know, it's so common to see people that are sad sitting in their office jobs and dreaming about all the things that they could be doing. And I'm like, why don't you just do it?
No.
Like, get the fuck out that job. I literally could never imagine myself in a conventional job. That literally, I lasted 3 months. That was like the longest I've lasted. And then I would literally be like, well, except for the catering one, but I was like young and I was in school. But when I was at uni working like a hotel or Five Guys, different places, never lasted.
Same.
I was like, I need to run my own business. I need to be my own boss. I can't stand anyone telling me what to do.
You need to be aware going into it that it might not work, but also a job might not work, so there's no harm, no foul there. But you need to be aware that you're maybe not going to make as much money in the conventional sense as everyone, so you may not earn that standardized wage. However, if you learn to get good at it and see where the opportunity lies and start to be a bit more ruthless with your time and your decision making, not ruthless in business because that's not a good thing, but like on yourself, not just eventually now I'm in my 30s, I'm like not just saying yes to everything and being a bit more selective with my decision making and making less. Your decision making gets so much better. And I remember someone I know, I live with a guy at uni, and his dad is a super successful businessman, got like a house building company, and I think they would have sold it for like tens of millions of pounds.
Wow.
But I remember him saying to me, he was like, don't stress. Your 20s you graft, in your 30s you learn, and in your 40s then you make your money. And he was like, don't worry about the in between. He's like, this is you just learning, getting better and more selective with your decision making, and see the mentoring side of it. It can be mind blowing if you can get someone that's highly successful into a room with you and just listen.
Yeah. That's my big thing, is that like I've watched so many different, like, I don't know, YouTube videos and all these different things giving you advice, and it's always saying like mentors are like great for you, and I've always like tried to like manifest, because even like growing up I never had any role models. Like there was nobody that I looked up to. Like I looked up to like my brother, and that's why I got obsessed with traveling, because he would travel and he was so much older, but like he wasn't a good role model at all, like in that way. So
you didn't know because that was just the only one you had.
That was the only one, and I really had to like look after myself and kind of like be my own like role model, if that makes sense. So like I've always wanted, like, crave that kind of mentor. Even in yoga, I've literally asked people and been turned down as like a mentor, like for like becoming like yoga teacher kind of thing. But yeah, so mentors are important.
But pick the right one for your personality though.
Yeah.
You could just have one for the sake of it, and they might not be aligned with, might not be able to get the best out of you. The overarching like sentiment of that is that business doesn't need to be about, like, the end goal is to make money. That is the capitalist world we live in, but you can find ways to work with anyone, and that is the whole premise of our company. Is that we just want to do fun shit and make money out of it, like, and not be flippant about that. Like, we can work with a multitude of different people from different industries and share our experiences and share our knowledge. I would happily share my knowledge with other campaign builders, and I do. Like, we're trying to innovate down a totally different channel to a lot of different people. So you can work with anyone. Like, don't be stifled by what you think is possible or probable.
Love that.
That's like,
that's a very cool.
Finding your ikigai, like finding your reason for living, and then not, because there's a book called, have you heard it? Ikigai?
No.
So it's a book about how to live your best life,
It's
basically.
a Japanese saying, ikigai. It means your purpose in life.
Your like purpose for living.
That's what girls say when they don't like the guy. They're like, ikigai. Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's giving me the ikigai.
He's such an icky guy. Like, no way. Would you ever go with that guy? No. He's such an icky guy.
Such an icky guy.
That's hilarious.
Sorry, I've just put a horrible slant on that poor guy's book. He's like some Jedi. And I just totally fucked his book. Sorry.
That's so funny.
That's hilarious. I literally never heard it like that.
It's Mean Girls. She's like, would you ever go with Brad? No, he's such an icky guy.
Literally, I'll never unhear it now.
That's so funny.
Literally.
Icky guy. No, I can't unhear it now. Like,
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
He's disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting guy now,
Yeah.
I'm going to call it that. But basically, long story short, it's about finding your reason for living. And I think, well, with everything that we do, me and Melanie, literally, I'm always so excited to wake up and do it. And I've never thought about the money. Like,
Yeah,
it's because
same.
it's literally my reason for living. Like, this is, you know, no matter what position I'm in, even though I'm not doing the best financially, I'm still enjoying every single day of my life, and then the money will come with it.
It should.
Exactly.
It definitely
Yeah.
should. Like, it won't. It's not always guaranteed because some people are really amazing creatives that just don't know how to monetize their industry. But like
Yeah.
that should come.
Yeah.
Partner up. I've partnered up with someone that really understands economics because
Yeah.
I know that it's not that much of an interest to me. So I need a bank manager. I call them a bank manager, a business partner that thinks about the money as well.
Yeah.
We've got Selby.
Yeah.
Like her
No,
partner.
literally, we've got like, yeah, it's amazing because
Yeah.
as soon as we started our business, we've immediately like everybody believed in us, and
That's really
that's
nice.
the
Selby is a good
that-
name. It sounds like a Peaky Blinder.
Yeah.
Like the Selby.
you're a gangster.
He should definitely go as Halloween as a Peaky Blinder.
You'd actually suit it. I would think so.
Probably
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so he takes care of all of that. Like he thinks about, oh, what money are you gonna make? How are you gonna monetize this? And we're like, how can we make this super cool?
Yeah.
How
But
can
that's
we
got
film it in a
longevity
cool way?
because that's original, and it's not the word I'm looking for. Original, like that's a core thing. If you can do something because you really really enjoy it, and like some days I wake up and think, fuck, like I'm on the tools now, which is actually another thing I should have told you guys. Like I realized that going through cognitive behavioral therapy that actually the linear stuff with business, replying to emails, processing customers, like I'm good at it because I can speak to these people and I understand how to do it, but I don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I really
same.
enjoyed doing things with my hands because I like standing back and drinking a really cold beer after days where I can be like, I made that.
Yeah.
And I'm
my
proud of
God,
that.
yeah.
And that's
my
a
God,
tangible,
that was-
physical thing.
Literally with decor, whenever I would decorate a home, I would have that feeling. I would stand back and be like, oh my God, I did this. I just did this. And then I would be like, okay, what's next? Where's the next one? Because I'm like, do you know what I mean? It's kind of like it's like the adrenaline of, okay, it's done. What's next?
Yeah.
And then I would be
Yeah.
like, where's the next one? I need to do it.
And it's torturous backing it up with the admin, and you have to do the admin. It's part of it's part of the job. Like everyone has to do things they don't like. But I've been going through a 3-month apprenticeship with my head joiner to learn how to, and I could do things, but not near to the level that these guys were working at. Like we work with cabinet makers and guys that they know their craft. Like they're really talented people. So these vans, like the finish is everything for us. It has to be. But learning from them and like they can be hard on me as well. I'm like cutting something. He's like, that shit, you need to do that again. And like he's like, basically, you're gonna have to keep cutting the wood you're paying for until you get it right. So see it that way.
Yeah.
He's like, that's £7. Just come
Yeah.
out of your pocket, go cut it again. So
Fuck.
it's been really
that's kind of
he's
cool.
not been like, you're my boss, I'm gonna just tell you that that's good when it's shit.
Yeah.
He's like, that's a disgrace. You need to get your head in the game because you're like when you're using power tools and like cutting things accurately, you need to be like focused.
No,
Yeah.
I was literally, I think, and this is what I've just realized just from talking about this, is like lately, because I've stopped like skateboarding, so I used to like skateboard and that was like my thing. Like that's what I would go and do by myself. I'd just go for a skate. But I've stopped since like I hit my head and I've just been like doing yoga and that's kind of like it. And I'm finding it really difficult right now because obviously I love editing and I love everything we're doing, but it is just sitting on the computer and I don't have that physical balance at the moment. So like I've just been really struggling because I feel like I need to do something with my hands and I don't like fiddly stuff like, I don't know, like making jewelry. Like I don't like stuff like that. It just kind of ekes me. Like I'm just like, this is too annoying. And I've been really obsessed with trying to, like I keep coming up with ideas on to make stuff with like wood. Remember, I've been suggesting us making things for like months. I'm
Get
like,
into whittling.
that's what I mean. It's like, I think that's what I need is something like physical, something, because when I was younger, my mom is the same as well. Like she would be like, it was just me and her on Mother's Day. Like no one else showed up. It was just me and her. And I was like, Mom, let's do whatever you want. Like, you know, let's cheer you up kind of thing. What do you want to do? She was like, I want to go outside and I want to clear some land. And I was like, let's fucking do it, Mom. And we just went outside and chopped wood. It was awesome. It was like and I just love physical labor so much. And I don't have that right now. And I think that's like, just from hearing you saying that, like going from like admin kind of stuff and then going and doing like I think that's what I need. Like something, some sort of physical labor,
So there's a society in Scotland called the Dry Stones Diking Society, and I've signed up to go learn to build walls. Because I think it's a beautiful craft and it's so expensive. See, if you get someone to go and build your wall out of that dry stone dike, it's, you know, when they don't use any cement or anything, it's all just put together.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
But it will cost you like 20 grand for a wall.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go on a weekend course to learn to do it. And I think doing shit like that, like learning different things totally outside the realm of what you do every day, is quite valuable. Yeah. Maybe.
I just want to learn to build stuff. Like I find I've got this like really, I admire people who can do things like with their hands. Like if you can work on your car yourself, like build, like, you know, if you know how to do construction, even plumbing and all that. Like I really admire people. Like I've got like I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. That's a skill. Like you can make something with your hands. So I'm just like, why the fuck don't I do it? Like if I admire these qualities in someone else, like why don't I just do it like for myself and then admire myself? Then like,
it is so satisfying. You'll be like, wow, I did this.
I just don't know what I want to make. I was like, what am I gonna make?
Let's make something.
That's a creative challenge that you guys need to embark on.
Let's make a freaking
I want to make
table,
an indoor greenhouse because I can't keep any plants alive in my flat.
You can help solve it.
Lights, and
yeah,
you could build
I've got some.
You could get cloche and build like a little greenhouse.
Yeah, that's what
literally Selby has been talking about making a growing system.
Yeah,
you should do it.
That's what I need.
There
Something physical. Thanks, guys.
Bye. We want you to report back to us on how that's gone.
These are my sketches.
You better be here back in a week telling us exactly what you did.
All the
for
materials.
Yourself.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's super interesting. Because I've been feeling kind of like there's something missing, like for ages. Like I'm just like, what? And I just thought like, I'll change my fitness routine and all this. And like, and just like nothing was kind of like doing it. Yeah. But I'm not making anything. Like, you know, doing something physical. Make a skateboard. That would be fun.
What you can do is get like a piece of ply and you can make a longboard. Yeah. But you can't skate.
No, I just don't like it. Oh, no, okay. I think it's too soon. It's only been like a year and it was really bad. Like, yeah, even the kids were kind of freaked out.
I have a story about hitting my head skateboarding.
Let's hear it.
I don't know if I want to tell it now. It's too long. Oh, I can tell it now.
Okay, go on.
So I stopped skateboarding for like 3 years.
I'll let you sit on this because it might be a bit painful by now.
Oh,
I can just imagine.
Sorry, I should have gotten
one. Good.
I was like...
Straight back. I stopped skating for like 3 years and I was like, I really need to get back. My ankles are quite cooked from ligament damage. And I always skated bowls, like ramps. That was my thing. I was really into it. Because I was taught by a 40-year-old guy that used to be, he was called Tony Carver. His actual name wasn't Tony, it was Tony Carney, but everyone called him Tony Carver because he used to like just do frontside grinds and frontside airs, and he was just the most stylish guy with knee pads and a tash. And he was like an old school hippie. And he would take us around in his van and go to different skate parks when we were like way younger. And
that sounds so creepy.
Which he did, but he wasn't like there was no like dodgy. I don't even know the word to say it.
Creepiness. It was all safe fun.
Yeah, it's just funny. Like we went in his
van. Come into my van and skateboard. Come and see my kids. No.
I have a puppy in there.
Poor Tony, fucking getting called out on a podcast. The guy's just trying to teach some boys to skate, and now because of the world we live in, he's like some creepy skateboarding paedophile. Well, he's not, right? He's sound as fuck. So yeah.
Sorry, wait. Okay.
I'm having a moment here. ASMR. So yeah, I was like, I need to get back into skateboarding. So I was like, rolled up to the skate park that I knew the best, skated the first day. It was amazing. Like I've barely forgotten lots of the tricks that I used to be able to do. I couldn't do them well with any style, but I was like, I could still roll around, create speed and do the tricks. And then the next day I was like, yeah, I'm starting to feel this. And the first day I wore my helmet and I was like, I don't need that fucking helmet anymore. Like it's fine. And I went to do so there's like something called a nose pick. So you would do like a 270 ollie on the vert ramp, on the biggest ramp in the skate park. and I knew I wasn't landing it halfway around, so I tried to run out of it. It's something you do, so you like know that the trick's not going right in that split second, and you run out of it. And there was leaves at the bottom, and the flat bottom, and I was running out of it really fast, like sprinting out of it, and I slipped in some leaves, and that was it. I don't know anything else. But when I woke up, my hands were doing this, so my hands were like
clawing.
this, like clawing, and I was just like fucking like shaking.
Seizing.
Had a seizure. Hit the back of my head so hard that they were like, you pretty much bounced there when you hit the ground. And I came to like a couple minutes later, and it took me like 5 minutes for my hands to straighten out, and I was like, this is
that must have been
crazy.
so scary.
But I was working events, so I was like, I need to go. I got work to do.
Oh my
So
God.
I just went, and later that week, I got up. I was like kind of jaded that week, and later that week, I got up too fast underneath the catering unit and smashed my head on a metal bar in the same spot, and instantly knocked myself out again. And I was fucking like flat out. Someone woke me up on the grass.
Oh my God.
And
Surely you went home.
went to hospital that day because I was like so concussed. I was like, I was trying to drive. It was so stupid. And I was just in that moment where I was like, I've got things to do. I can't let this. I've got a wedding. You know, this person's paid for this. Like, I have to go to it. And I'd basically, what the neurologist said is I'd reset my whole brain. It said it's like restarting a laptop. No. So some of the neurological pathways had been disrupted in quite a severe way at that time, and I'd basically just shut down my system and rebooted it. And he's like, you need to take like 8 weeks off minimum. And I was like, that's impossible. So I went to my business partner, and as I was explaining to him why I needed to take time off, I was weeping because apparently one side I wasn't upset. One side of concussion is you're highly emotional. So I got signed off from work in the busiest 8 weeks of the year and like put an immeasurable amount of pressure on everyone else in the company. But they said, you just got to go and do that. So I was like back in my flat on my own in the day, like this is fucked. So I ordered paints and paint brushes and things off Amazon, and I took up fly fishing again, and I did it for 8 weeks, and it totally sorted me out. I just lived a different pace of life, but I've never skateboarded again without a helmet on.
Yeah, I can't.
And I'm fine with skateboarding now, but that part of my head feels weird.
Right?
I can't explain it. It's almost like when I touch it in the wrong way, it feels sore.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like it feels hollow.
Oh.
Yeah. It doesn't ever go right.
And if I think too hard for too long, I just get foggy.
Yeah, and then I get only headaches here now in the part where I hit my head.
Like
I've never.
Do not hit your head, children, sports fans. It's not
please
good.
wear a helmet.
Wear a helmet. Just fucking wear a helmet.
I've scared my kids into wearing a helmet because I'm such a busy person. Like I get up early in the morning. I'm like boom, 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 like nonstop. Da da da. Like the kids know me. Like I do everything, and then. I was just a fucking wreck. Like I literally bounced off the concrete because I was going down like this really small ramp, and it was like one of those moments where it was like I had been skating hard for 2 hours. I was trying to show off. There was a bunch of girls there, and I was like like trying to impress them because they skated.
Showing off because always no, it wasn't like. No, but I hate it when I embark.
Because I always hurt myself.
On that
trying to impress a girl at a skate park, and then you fuck yourself.
Yeah, all the girls were really cool, and I was like, this was my first time meeting other girl skaters, and I really wanted them to like me
in a nice way. You were trying to do your best.
And it was such a stupid, like there was no way of preventing it. Like it was a really short, small, like a little pump track, like a little pump. And I've literally gone on the skate track so fast, so many times, and I hit a fucking rock. The ramp was not the ramp, like the little concrete bit was so small that I didn't have time to spin. So I literally saw it coming, and I planted my head, like, and I literally, because of the force of me going forward was so hard that I did catch myself, but by the time I went like this, my head, like my neck muscles weren't strong enough to like take the impact, so I just literally headbutted the ground right on my right side, and then I was instantly standing up.
That's the day I ate that ready meal, and I was having an allergic attack as Melanie was like having her concussion.
Exactly. So like I literally all of a sudden, like as soon as I hit my head, the sound still, like I can still hear the sound of me hitting my head. That was the worst part. And then
hollow sound.
I stood up, and then I just turned around because Brody and them, everyone heard the knock, and I turned around and their faces were like as soon as they looked at me, I was like, what? Is it bleeding? And they were like, no, you've got a massive ache. Like, it was instant, like, huge lump. And then all of a sudden, everything started to go black. And I was like, I'm passing out. Like, I'm about to get knocked out. And this is why yoga, meditation, all this shit is so fucking important. And it should be treated as, like, breakfast and food. Because as soon as I felt that, I said... no, I was like, and I laid myself down, and Birdie was like, rubbing, are you okay? Are you okay? I was like, I'm not trying to be mean, but get your fucking hands off me. I was like, I'm like trying not to pass out here. And I just like started meditating straight away. And I was like, you're fine. You're okay. Stay awake. Like, and I just repeated that over and over in my head. And then I opened my eyes. I couldn't see anything. All my vision, it was like 6 of Brodies in front of me. And I started to like panic. And I was like, I can't see. And luckily, there was a shop around the corner. One of my friends had ran to the shop, got some ice. As soon as I put the ice on my head, it was like literally pushing my eyeball back in. And it was like, I could see straight away. Like, yeah. And you saw me afterwards.
We called it Balthazar.
Balthazar.
Like, it was so big and
purple.
It
was so huge. And I was like so loopy. I didn't realize that. I definitely should have gone to the hospital. I didn't. I did have to afterwards because I started vomiting and like doing all that stuff.
But they get.
It fucking sucks.
Helmets are cool now.
No, it like... because we're...
being sound of mind is cool.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You need your
being
head. Like,
safe.
you can break your arm or your leg. That's okay.
No.
But, like, your head...
You need your brain.
No, I learned...
is a good thing to maintain.
Otherwise, you won't be able to move your arms if you can't use your brain.
But actually,
that's true.
No, I'm not even going to make that joke. It'd be so much easier if you were, like...
No, literally.
You would have no expectations, would you?
No,
you'd just be like, well, fuck it.
No, I'd rather just die than have to be like that,
Yeah, that's a flipping comment. Edit that out. Makes it sound like an idiot. More of an idiot.
Literally, I'll like, if I blink twice, that means kill me.
That's a sign. Assassinate. Where's this frog assassin? Do they do humans too?
Say that. Where's the frog assassin? When you
like, if you pay him enough, will he do a human?
Probably.
You pay him
I will sign here, you will not go to jail. Kill me now.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Doesn't work.
If I pay you enough, will you do it?
How many frogs is in a human? Maybe like 57?
Yeah.
How much does
Pay him
that cost?
times 57 times a frog.
How much does like killing 57 frogs cost?
Why? Well, it's the equivalent of 1 human. But she asked for it, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like...
Pro bono.
Pro bono.
My good deed for the day.
I'll do it for charity.
I didn't push her, she fell.
Wait, what did you say?
Like, I didn't push her, she fell.
That's so sad.
No.
But yeah,
wear a helmet.
That's what the guy said. I was going to take it even further. I was like, yeah.
Don't,
better,
then
better
it just
stop.
gets really...
Yeah, so...
Never had the concussion and I'm very fucking happy about it.
That's good.
No.
Keep walking.
Yeah,
You're doing a good job.
Literally, I fucking love walking.
Shit changes your life though. Like, I felt properly changed after that. Like, I know I like talk about it, I mean, so much, but like, I literally like...
can see through walls.
I can see through walls. I can fly now.
It tapped into a different part of my brain and now
People
like...
said I was different after I hit my head.
No, I like,
Like, genuinely, seriously, they were like, they thought I was more grumpy.
Yeah, no, I was. I had really bad issues with anger. Like,
That's exactly what happened.
My mom...
Because you're frustrated, then it manifests in anger. It's not a nice thing. Concussion can last a long time.
I know, yeah.
That's why like rugby is not a good sport for kids. I played a lot of rugby when I was younger, and it's not a good thing to do when you're...
Yeah, that's so true.
...developing your mind, and you're getting fucking clattered left, right and centre.
No,
it's not a good thing.
do not recommend.
It's like smoking weed in your teens and playing rugby are not good for like a longevity of not having dementia. Like that seems obvious to me now.
Yeah.
I didn't do the weed thing when I was a teenager at all. That was in my 20s.
Yeah, neither did I. No, I did.
But yeah,
I'm American. I was like, weed was always normal. I was like,
not as a teenager for me.
No,
Nerd.
I was so straight laced. Never smoked at school. Never skived. Never did anything.
Wait,
I just
did you
couldn't be
say
fucked being
straight
there.
A's?
I was straight.
like
I was in
like,
some. So I was in some of the credit classes, quite a lot of them, but I just didn't ever perform well in exams. I just sat there and I was like,
yeah, I got
what
test
is the point of
anxiety.
this?
Yeah.
What is the point of this? Like, I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah, me too.
Somebody tell me.
I would be like, I literally...
Adjudicator, why am I here?
Hell.
I don't even remember walking into this room. What we doing?
That's the day before.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't really tell you anything about it. I was like, okay, you come and we speak. Like, but
I was talking about the exam.
Oh, really? I thought you meant when you walked into here. I was like,
completely
that's so
aware.
funny.
I was like, I'm pretty sure he's talking about his exams.
No.
Because I was like, I felt like that in my exams.
That's why I left school
They drugged
early. They drugged me. They drugged me.
They put me here and then they told me to write something, but I don't know what to write. So,
Here's the keys to my house and my life. Take
Perfect.
them.
No, yeah, literally, I could not relate more. I was always in school thinking, what is she talking about? My mum would be like, what did you do in school today? And I'd be like, I don't know. I really don't know.
Stuff.
Literally,
I saw a fight in lunchtime. It was amazing. Like,
That's what I was.
what did you do in your class? Oh, can you sign this punishment exercise?
Oh,
And she'd be
shit.
like, whoa. I just forged them. I got caught for that as well.
Oh, shit.
Forging. I got so good at her signature. though.
Yeah.
Didn't you say that you learned your mom's
My
one?
mom taught me how to do her signature because she was like,
She
I
was
can't
like,
be
"How
fucked
bothered?"
reading your stuff.
Yeah, just deal with it.
Thanks, mom. Like, yeah.
I should actually probably go.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
sorry.
we want you to live here, but that's why we're doing it.
We can do it again. Like,
We're just gonna like keep you here.
I
Walk
just
in
remember
this
saying to my
room.
wife, I'd definitely be home at 4:30, and that's like now maybe 15 minutes away.
Just blame it on traffic. I was like,
That's what I did with you guys. I was just surfing away. Woo! No, I
like,
genuinely
yeah, no.
couldn't get here. It was a nightmare.
that's so funny. Just blame it on
But
traffic.
getting out of Edinburgh
Now
is
she's
a
gonna hear this and be
nightmare.
like, "Oh my god, what a bitch."
Anyway, we have to let you go. Unfortunately, we're really sad about it because we could have had you talking here for the next 5 hours.
It would have been
Yeah.
amazing, but then we would have got even more. We would have gone into a wormhole of weirdness.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what we
excited.
That's
want.
when it gets good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when it gets real good.
I think next
Real
time we
good.
should do, maybe not on the table so we don't ruin any electronics, but maybe having a beer here.
Yes.
Oh my god,
We
yeah.
always
If it's
do.
in the evening, we always have
Let's
beers.
Let's
do
do an
an
evening
evening maybe
podcast, and then we can call it
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yes.
what we're working tonight. Yeah.
But,
working late.
yeah. Until next time. I'm joking. Thank you for being here and listening to this.
Yep.
And if you would like to support us, come and join us on Patreon. And if you just want to follow us, then come and find us on Instagram and Facebook. No One's Looking Podcast.
No One's Looking Podcast.
And yeah, would you like to plug in your social media?
Plug yourself or leave some wisdom.
Oh, okay. That's on the spot.
I know.
Hard. Well, we are Northbound Campervans at Northbound Campervans, and I think I don't have any wisdom.
You've,
Fair.
Thanks for
pretty
having
much
me.
already shared all
Thanks
your
for having
wisdom.
me. It's been really enjoyable.
No, it's been really, really fun.
I actually don't remember a lot of things I said, which is kind of worrying. It's like a night out. It's like, what did I say?
Guess what? Me too. And I listened back to it and I'm like, shit, I
Holy
said that.
Yeah, that's so
Does my
true.
voice sound like that? Like,
I'll make your voice sound so
No,
silky.
and then
Yeah,
Melanie,
tune it.
Yeah.
Melanie
Tune it.
masters it
Auto-tune.
and you're like, "Oh, I sound sexy.
Yeah, like if you think this sounds good, like wait.
do you know how rappers have like the electronic bit?
Yeah.
Like Drake. Can
Yeah,
you do
yeah.
that for me the whole time? That would be cool.
That would be cool.
That'd be so funny.
Electronic. Imagine just like every time you speak, it's like music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.
Thanks so much, guys. Yeah. So
Thank
It's easier that way.
Goodbyes are hard.
Goodbye. We'll say we better say goodbye, or else
Otherwise
we'll
we
never
won't
leave.
stop,
All right.
so-
thanks so much, guys. Bye.
Bye.
That was so.
I'm not good at
I
goodbyes.
feel
just
like
say
that
bye.
was like the